There's a ceiling casting a shadow on Capitol Hill this week. It's the $36.2 trillion in national debt. On Tuesday morning, President Donald Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, cleared his first confirmation hurdle from the Senate Finance Committee. At the same time, the agency he hopes to lead started taking extraordinary measures to keep from breaching the debt ceiling. According to the Treasury Department, the national debt is already higher than the $36.1 trillion allotted. To keep from accumulating more debt, the agency in charge of paying the government's bills needs to do some creative accounting. How long the department can use extraordinary measures to avoid defaulting on U.S. debt is subject to considerable uncertainty, outgoing Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned last week. In a letter written to House Speaker Mike Johnson on her last full day in office, she said, "The debt limit does not authorize new spending, but it creates a risk that the federal government might not be able to finance its existing legal obligations that Congresses and presidents of both parties have made in the past. I respectfully urge Congress to act promptly to protect the full faith and credit of the United States." In the meantime, Yellen said the agency would put off investing in retirement funds for federal and postal service employees. This isn't a permanent savings, however. Those funds will need to be recouped once the debt ceiling is raised. The Treasury Department said federal retirees and employees will be unaffected by the suspension, which goes through March 14th. Tax revenues could further stay a debt ceiling showdown, but the threat of one looms over Trump's first week back in the Oval Office. Raising the debt ceiling does not give government a blank check to spend. It only allows the Treasury Department to fulfill spending and debt obligations already authorized by Congress. Congress most recently suspended the debt ceiling in June 2023 when it was at $31.4 trillion. The suspension lifted on the first of this year at the new debt limit of $36.1 trillion. Since 1960, Treasury data shows Congress has acted 78 times to adjust the debt ceiling. Although the U.S. has never defaulted on its debt, the last-minute deals to raise or suspend the ceiling have hurt U.S. standing. In 2023, both Fitch Ratings and Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating. Fitch said the repeated debt limit political standoffs and last-minute resolutions have eroded confidence in fiscal management. In December, Trump proposed getting rid of the debt ceiling during a phone interview with NBC News.
But he'd like to see it got rid of entirely, something that's been discussed really by Democrats mostly in the past, but something that he said he would welcome and would actively campaign for. He argued that the debt ceiling doesn't work for its purpose. It doesn't actually control debt at all, and that its effect is merely psychological.
If he wants to eliminate the debt limit, I will work with him and you on that.
Great, because I agree with President-elect Trump that the debt limit should be repealed.
Bessent assured the Senate Finance Committee the U.S. would not default on its debt if he is confirmed as Treasury Secretary. His comments come as the U.S. heads for debt loads not seen since right after World War II. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office warned last week that U.S. debt is growing increasingly more than revenues. The CBO says national debt held by the public will be 100% of gross domestic product in 2025, but it'll grow to 118% in 2035. The previous record is 106% set in 1946. At this pace, in 10 years, the CBO estimates national debt will reach $52 trillion. For Straight Arrow News, I'm Simone Del Rosario.